Hey everyone, this is my collection of one-offs and electronic puzzles. As you can see, there's an Orbix in the center there, and there's a touch cube over here, a brain string advanced, a screw loose, a lockout puzzle. Let's spread them all out on the table and see what we have. Here's everything in the basket. There's a bunch of electronic puzzles, and in the back you can see a rush hour game and a couple other things that I actually have never shown on camera before. So let's take a closer look and see what's inside. Okay, I brought the camera in for a closer look, and I'm going to start with these puzzles over here. These are some electronic puzzles called Lights Out. This is the original Lights Out. Here's a Lights Out 2000, a Lights Out Cube, and a deluxe Lights Out at the bottom of it all. And the idea behind this puzzle is all pretty much the same. When you press one of these buttons, you get a light on, and then you have to go around pressing buttons around to turn lights on and off. And the goal is to get all of the lights off on the puzzle. There's a couple of other electronic puzzles in here. Here's a Light 3, which works kind of like the same Lights Out puzzle, where you turn lights on and off. And then there's the Rubik's Revolution in the back. This is the most famous of the Twisty puzzle type of electronic puzzles. I have two of these. What happened was there's a variation of the Rubik's Revolution called the Rubik's Revo that's somewhere around in Europe, and I thought I could pick one up. So I bid on an auction for one in Europe that said it was a Rubik Revo, but when I got it, it was just a regular Revolution, just the way that it says over here, and that's why I have two of them. Also, there is the Rubik's Touch Cube in the back that you see flashing around. I'm going to pick it up. The idea, this is blinking red because it's low on battery power, but the idea is to move your finger along the side of the puzzle, and it turns all the pieces around the side as if you were just turning the puzzle itself. This puzzle was a bit of a disappointment when it got released because people thought they would be able to customize this puzzle, and they weren't. And also the price was very high, but the price dropped quite a bit after its release. I'm going to put it back in the base. Okay. I'm not sure what's going on. Okay, back to normal. Okay, another electronic puzzle. The Orbix puzzle right here. This one's pretty rare, and the idea is similar to the Lights Out puzzle, but the idea is to turn all the lights on the sphere. So you press one of these and the light comes on, and lights go on and off depending on where you press, and the idea is to get all the lights on. Like I said, Orbix is pretty rare. Let's see. There are some string puzzles that I have. Here's one called the Brain String, where the idea is to get all the strings in the puzzle not touching each other anymore. That's the general idea. And then there was an advanced version of it called Brain String Advanced. More sides, more strings, but same idea. Don't have the strings touch each other. I have some magnetic puzzles. Here's a puzzle called Rubik's Dice, where there are 6 sides to the puzzle, and you move around the magnets on the inside of the puzzle to different sides, and you want to get the same color on all 6 of the sides. You can move pieces around using this piece as well. Here's another magnetic puzzle. This is just a 2x2, where the only point is to get it so that it forms a 2x2. And the thing that holds it together are the magnets on the inside of each of these cubies. But there's no outside indicator of where the magnets are. So your job is to put together this cube so that it holds together with magnets and is able to stand in this stand. Here's yet another magnetic puzzle where the only idea is to take off these cubes and then rearrange them on this internal mechanism of magnets so that each side forms its own color. There's a couple of mirror puzzles. Here's one called Einstein and You, where the idea is to show this picture of Einstein in the back. If you move around these pieces, you'll see that it's harder than it looks because there's mirrors in each of these pieces. But when they're in the correct position, you can see the Einstein face in the back. And there's a variation of that dealing with Escher's puzzles. There are some pieces in here that have pictures of an Escher puzzle, and then there are there are mirrors. Actually, each piece has a mirror in it as well as pictures of Escher's puzzle. And your point is to put around these mirrors so that you can see in the back one of these pictures in its entirety. Very interesting puzzle, and it ties in with Escher really well. Because a lot of Escher's pictures were about paradoxes that you can make on the 2D page that couldn't really exist in real life. And that fits in with the idea of mirrors and illusions really well. Another mirror puzzle called Labyrinth, where the idea is simply to rotate these pieces. Some of these pieces have red on them, and some of them have mirrors. And the idea is to move these pieces around until you solve the puzzle. This puzzle comes in red and blue. Okay, over here there is a tri-gears puzzle. Normally gears go in pairs, but this one has 3. And in order to make it move freely, you have to orient these gears correctly around each other. Here I have a lawn post pyramid, where it's just really a put-together puzzle. You just take any of these individual pieces, you put them together, and you're supposed to form a pyramid. Okay, here we have Raging Rapids, where the only idea is to just move these paddlers around so they're all facing the same way. Over here I have a Rubik's Eclipse puzzle. It's kind of a board game, and I got it in a puzzle lot buy. I bought a couple of puzzles, and this one came along with it, so I don't have the instructions with it, and I haven't actually played around with it. It's just simply there. But it looks like it might be interesting to check out someday. Here's a frustrator puzzle. I can't really say that I'm that fond of this puzzle. You have these levers at the bottom and top, and you're supposed to move them around based off of the numbers. I thought this one was going to be more interesting than it really was, and it really has not held on to my interest since. Here's a cross teaser puzzle where the idea is to move these pieces around, and the problem is that not only can you move a piece around this side, but it'll affect this side as well. It's a two-sided puzzle. So the idea is to arrange these pieces so that all the pieces around the edge have the same color, and there's nothing in the center. Okay, here's a puzzle called Worm and Bronco. 2 versions of the same puzzle. The idea of Worm is to take this worm, rotate it around the puzzle, and get it out of the apple. And Bronco, you have this bucking bronco, and you're supposed to move it around until you're able to move it out of the puzzle. Like so. Here's a Rubik's game. This is the fully functioning Rubik's Cube, and you're supposed to treat it like a kind of a tic-tac-toe in 3D. The pegs are at the bottom. Here are something called Tangles. It's not really a twisty puzzle, it's just something to fiddle with. But it's interesting to see nonetheless. With this puzzle, the idea is to take each number and surround it by that number of black dots. For example, this is 10, so you have 3, 5, 7, 9, 10 black dots around that side. And this side is 3, so you have just 3 black dots around it. If you can do that for every single number on this puzzle, then you've solved it. Here's something called a screw loose, where the idea is simply to get this nut off of the screw. There's a hidden groove on groove on this nut, and you're supposed to guide that hidden groove through this maze to get the nut off of the screw. And then you'll have a screw loose. Over here you have a Magellan puzzle, where the idea is around the idea of the four-color map problem in mathematics and map making, whereas you have a color, and with 4 colors you can color any map so that the colors do not touch each other across map lines. So the idea is to move around. The idea is to move around these pieces. Is very hard to do, but I think I've switched this one from yellow to green, and then arrange it so that green doesn't touch any of this border. The trick is that not only are there color changes on this side, but it's a two-sided puzzle. So some of these will affect both sides of the puzzle and some won't, but you're supposed to solve for both sides. This puzzle is also supposed to come with a stick to make it much easier to turn these pieces because they're recessed into the puzzle, but I don't have the stick. I have a Rubik's Money Bank. This is an actual Rubik's puzzle out of Japan. And the idea is to save money in the bank, and then to get it out, you have to be able to solve the green side of the puzzle. You don't even have to match these sides below the green. You just have to match it so that green shows on all the sides on this side, and then you can open up the puzzle and then get your money out. Fully functioning. And this can actually hold a lot more money inside than you think. Over here I have the lockout puzzle. This is a puzzle that I had wanted to feature previously, but I didn't fully understand how all the pieces worked. There are instructions that I have with it, but they're in German, so I can't read them. Whenever I figure out how to move all the pieces around on the puzzle and how all the parts work, then I'll make a video of this puzzle showing how it works. Over here I have something called Rush Hour, which is more of a one-person board game than anything else. In this game you get cars and a red car, and the point is to get the red car out of the traffic jam or the rush hour. You get cards with the puzzle showing how to arrange these different cars, and then you're supposed to figure out how to move the cars so that you can get the red car out of the rush hour. There's also a deluxe version of this puzzle. Okay, here's probably my favorite one-off puzzle. This is a puzzle called Writer's Block. It has a key in the back, and you take it out. You take this, push it into the pens on the side, and it depresses the pens. When you depress all the pens, you can open up the container. And these are also real working pens, so you could actually write with this puzzle. And here's a Think-A-Dot puzzle in the back. There are 3 holes at the top that can have marbles go in them. The marbles go through the puzzle and either out through this hole or out through this hole on the side. And that depends on what's showing on the front of the puzzle. So depending on how this goes, then the ball will go out the left or right. This is based on the idea of binary theory, or binary numbers, I'm sorry. Also back here you have a puzzle called Wanderings, which works like a Towers of Hanoi puzzle, except there's 5 towers, and it's based around the idea of the Olympic rings. And that leaves us with just one puzzle left. This one right here. This is called Magic Path. You've probably not heard of this puzzle before, and you've probably never seen it before. And there's a reason for that, but I am hoping to have a video in the future that will feature this puzzle and give you a little more information on this puzzle. This one really will be interesting to see whenever I make a video of this one. So hopefully stay tuned, and hopefully we'll make a video of this one. And this is my collection of one-offs and electronic puzzles.